Hey everybody, this is LA Cigar Guy, and today we have a special video. About 2 weeks ago, we got back from Cuba, and today we are going to do the unsealing of the boxes and talk a little about how to prepare your cigars that you bring back from Cuba. Um, it's been about 2 weeks, and the boxes that you can see in front of you are the haul that came back, and we'll go through what everything is. There isn't really any reason why they haven't been unsealed yet, except I haven't been able to get to it. But they've been sitting, humidified and in proper conditions since I brought them back. So you can see this is a box of Bolivar Petit Corona. And we'll take a look at the box code on the back. That is ULA, June of 2015. So I was happy to find a box with a little bit of age on it. These are San Cristobal La Fuerza. And that box code is EML, February 15. So that puppy's got over 2 years on it now. And then the one that I really kind of went after is the Trinidad Fundadores. I'm a Lancero guy, and the box code on this one, somewhat unfortunately, is RMU August of 16. So it's going to be a little while before we actually crack those open to smoke them, but we're going to crack them open today just to see what they look like. The other stuff that we have on the table is interesting. So we went to a little farm in Vinales, and after they do their little spiel of, showing you the fields and rolling a cigar for you, they give you a cigar, and then of course what they really want is to sell you some cigars. So this is a little bundle, pre-made bundle in a palm leaf of 14 little cigars. We actually don't know whether this is the same cigar that they rolled for us or whether it's from a different batch or whatever. The original price that they wanted for this was 45 CUC. CUC is, people say kook. It's pegged to the dollar at 1 per. When you convert dollars to kooks, though, they take 13% off the top, so it's actually, a kook is worth a little bit more than $1 because of that. So they were asking 45 for this bundle of 14. They also had bundles of 20 on the farm. It was the Luis y Luis farm in Vinales, in case you're ever wondering or you're there. And I think the bundles of 20 were 60 kooks. I actually felt that that was overpriced, even though it's relatively cheap per cigar, just because these are cheap cigars. They tasted pretty good, the ones that we tried, but again, I don't even know if this was from that same batch of tobacco. We bargained them down a little bit, and so I got this bundle of 14 instead of for 45. I got it for 30 kooks, so I felt not too bad about that. It's a little over $2, maybe $2.25 a piece. Not bad. I mean, it is a Cuban cigar. We'll see in a future video how good they are. I haven't even taken them out of their little palm leaf that they package them in. These guys, on the other hand, are hopefully much better. I have taken one of these out and smoked it already. These are custom rolled robustos from Juanita at the Hotel Melia, Cohiba. And hope you can see those okay. Anyway, this one's a little bit rough. I think that's the roughest one of the bunch, but for the most part, it's a robusto with a closed foot, essentially. So I think those are going to need a little age. Based on the one that I have already smoked, I would say we're going to put those away for a little while and hope that they improve a little bit. The roll and the construction is fantastic, but Juanita was complaining a little bit when we were there that the leaves weren't really, the leaves that she was given to roll with at the hotel weren't really up to the caliber that she prefers to work with. This, which we'll go ahead and open up, is probably my favorite thing that I came back with. It is a bundle of Monsdales rolled by Jorge at the Club Habana LCDH. That also, by the way, is where we bought the Trinidads. So I think I'm going to go ahead and grab a knife so we can start unsealing this stuff. And just to have a look, now I did smoke one that Jorge gave me when I placed the order. I gave him about I don't know, 4 days to complete the order for us. And he was so nice to be able to roll these even during Habanos Fest week when we were there. I don't know how well the light is going to show those guys in there, but let's go ahead and see if we can pull one out. They're actually a fairly loose bundle. So go ahead and grab one of those delicious babies. Look at that. I wish we had a little better lighting here, but we really don't. As you can see, it's a Lonsdale with a pigtail cap and again a closed foot. And so he was nice enough to roll for us a bundle of 25, even though both he and Juanita were incredibly busy during that entire week rolling customs for everybody who was there. So now we're going to go ahead and do what a lot of people do when they're in Cuba, and we're going to unseal these cigars and hope that they're in good shape. Interesting note on pricing. Let's take a look at the price tag on this sucker. So $4.70 is the price per cigar. This is a peso price and does not relate to this. So $4.70 times 25, you're looking at something like 123 kooks. So around maybe 130 bucks for a box of Bolivar Petit Corona. Good price. Go ahead and unseal that. Do the Cuba seal. And then all we have left is that little tack. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at what we have. Here, of course, is the Habanos Authenticity. And there we go. Looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and tilt this down so we can get some better light on these. And pretty happy with these wrappers. They're not super light, they're not super dark, they have a nice reddish tinge to them, and at least on the top row, not a hint of mold to be found, which is great. See if we can grab one of these guys out of here, get a little whiff of what the box smells like. Not a terrible lot of aroma coming from the box, but everything looks great. No mold. I would say they're a touch dry, so some time in the humidor is going to stand them well. Go ahead and set that back together. Try to find that back into its own tack hole. Let's open the San Cristobal. Again, Habanos seal on the side. Take care of that a little bit. Cuban government seal. And this guy right here. And the tack. This one's a little bit harder to open. Probably because there's a seal on the side that I didn't grab. Let's do that. Yep. That is what did it. There again, here's the Habanos seal. And look at these guys. These are, sorry, I said La Fuerza. They're actually La Punta. These are the torpedoes. Get a good closer up look at those puppies. They also look terrific. They are not light wrappers at all. They feel great. They smell really good. Slightly more aroma than what was coming off of the Bolivars, and everything looks terrific. What I can see, again, no mold, nothing, just fantastic. That's exactly what you want to see when you pay for the box. Okay, let's go take a look at the price on this. This says $191.25, but again, I think that is the peso price. I do have the receipt for these around somewhere, so we can actually look at what we paid for this. You know what? I actually think that is the price in kooks on these guys because they don't have the per cigar price on them. I think $191.25 is what we paid for a box of La Punta. Prices, by the way, at the LCDH is pretty much the same, every single one. And of course, when you go to Cuba and you buy cigars, the LCDHs, which is La Casa del Habana, the official state tobacco stores, the only place you want to buy cigars. Literally every single other place, whether it's a hotel or a guy on the street who says his cousin works in the factory or some guy who comes onto your tour bus, every single cigar is going to be fake. They'll be real Cuban cigars, but they will not be real, most likely, Cohibas or whatever he's saying that they are. It did seem like, I'm going to go ahead and get at these Trinidads now. It did seem like every single person who we ran into in Cuba, all the tourists who didn't know cigars really well, all fell for the $75, my cousin works in the factory box of Cohibas. Go ahead and open these Trinidads. Beautiful box on the Trinidad Fundadores. Nicer presentation. This is actually like a plastic paper that printed on there. And look at those beautiful fundies. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Perfect. The feet, all perfect. This is interesting. So something that you may notice on Cuban cigars from time to time is, I don't know if you can see, but down here, just a little bit of green on the foot. That is very standard for Cuban cigars. It's just a little bit of chlorophyll that is still left in the wrapper leaf after fermentation. No problem whatsoever. It doesn't mean that there's any damage or anything going on. Just carefully grab one of these guys out. Feels terrific. No soft spots. Oh, and these really smell good. This is the difference between a top shelf Cuban and sort of a more middle of the road Cuban cigar box. The aroma off these, very strong. I mean, and of course these are newer, but at the same time, man, they smell really good and they look absolutely perfect. There isn't a thing wrong with this box. And of course, the beautiful part about buying Fundadores in Cuba is that price right there, $261.60. That is roughly $140 less than you can normally find a box of Trinidad Fundadores for. So that's fabulous. So I think maybe we'll talk a little bit now about what I'm going to be doing with these boxes next. What I'm going to be doing with them is freezing them. And here's why. All of the boxes of cigars that come from Cuba for export, Habanos, the company that owns and runs all of the cigar manufacture and distribution in Cuba and worldwide, freezes them. And the reason they freeze them is because all cigar tobacco potentially contains tobacco beetle eggs. It may sound a little gross, but they're really tiny and they get laid on the leaves when the tobacco is growing. And then if conditions are right later on, even after the leaves have been cut and they've been dried and fermented and rolled into cigars, those eggs are still in there, if they're there at all. And if their conditions are right, like the temperature gets, to 75 or 80 degrees for a long enough time, those eggs can hatch, little larvae will come out, and they will eat their way all the way through your cigar, and then through the next cigar and the next one, and they can chew an entire box or an entire tray or an entire humidor of your cigars and just ruin everything. So what you need to do with the stuff that comes from Cuba directly, which they do not freeze, is freeze it yourself. And basically that means we're going to put this whole thing, we're going to wrap it up very tightly into some Ziploc bags. We're going to put it in the fridge for about a day, and then we're going to move it into the freezer for a couple of days, and hopefully that'll do it. Our freezer is a little bit lower than normal temperature. It's not industrial freezer strength. I don't know exactly what the temperature is. We could pop one of our hygrometers in there and find out. But hopefully that'll give us at least a little peace of mind, and with wrapping them up really tightly, probably double bagging all of the boxes, it'll reduce the possibility that we're going to lose oils or the cigars are going to dry out when they're in there, that kind of thing. Then after they go out of the freezer, basically just put them on the counter for a few hours, let them slowly warm up to room temperature, and then boom, into whatever humidor you're using for your cigars. Another tip, when you go to Cuba, bring with you a couple of big 2-gallon Ziploc bags and some Boveda packs so that when you get your cigars, you can put them in there. You don't necessarily know what's going to happen to your cigars after you buy them and take them out of the store. You may end up, needing to throw them into your luggage or even into your checked baggage. And it's always better to know after you've left the humid environment of Cuba that kind of naturally keeps cigars more or less exactly where they need to be, that they're going to be properly taken care of between there and when they get into your humidor. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, leave us some comments. We're at LA Cigar Guy. That's at LA_Cigar Guy on Instagram. We're also going to have the website going up soon, and we'll have a link to this on our YouTube page. Thanks a lot, guys.